we start today's video, I just want to say if you hear any loud crashing or banging noises, my neighbors are doing what sounds like destroying their house so they can rebuild it from the ground up. So yeah, I have obviously no control over that, so if you hear any interruptions, just know that is the demolition next door. Alright, let's get into the video. FNAF fan games are one of the most important key elements that keep the game series alive today. They introduce new concepts or new perspectives that we would otherwise never be able to witness in the official media released by Scott and/or Steel Wool. One of these concepts is the infamous location known as Fredbear's Family Diner. Even though it's an official concept within the universe and an incredibly important part of the lore, it's never actually appeared in any official Five Nights at Freddy's games. Hell, we've never even seen Fredbear's official design other than his UCN appearance, which is still being debated what model of Fredbear that is. Assuming it's meant to be what he looked like in the old diner, and it's entirely possible Fredbear looked nothing like UCN Fredbear. There has been occasional talk of or nods to Fredbear's Family Diner in the games, one of which is mentioned by Phone Guy in FNAF 2 being regarded as the old location.
We're going to try to contact the original restaurant owner. I think the name of the place was Fredbear's Family Diner or something like that.
There are also what seems to be some advertisement posters and security breach near Rockstar Row. Other than that, the only time we've ever actually seen what the inside of Fredbear's may have looked like was in the FNAF 4 8-bit minigames, and there really isn't much detail at all, which gives the community little to work with and build on the idea of Fredbear's as a concept. All we know for sure is that there were spring-lock suits, 2 animatronics, presumably, and it was operating around 1983. Oh yeah, and a kid got bit by Fredbear. That is literally all we're given in the official games. But, that's what makes it so brilliant. With little explanation or details actually being officially mentioned in the series, it leaves so much room for fan interpretations and designs. This is where the community comes in with hundreds of fan-made characters, models, designs, and of course, my favorite, fan games. Fan games that take place in, or center around the Fredbear's Family Diner concept have to be some of my favorites. They fill the void that Scott left in the series, and some of these feel damn near official, reaching or sometimes even exceeding the quality of Scott's titles. The amount of work and love put into some of these projects is astounding and commendable. There is definitely an abundance of these types of games as well, and each one offers a unique experience. Recently I saw a game on GameJolt that caught my eye, Fredbear's Resort. Instead of taking place in the Family Diner, this game actually takes place after Fredbear's apparent shutdown, and a new company bought the rights and opened a sort of resort, hence the title. The restaurant somehow perfectly replicates the feel of the 8-bit minigames by using similar colors and wall patterns, while also trying to do its own thing. It's a lot more realistic and grounded as well. Instead of blast doors that defy the laws of physics, there's a hallway entrance to your right, and a regular door in front of you. Now, am I saying this game is better than the actual FNAF games? Of course not! Five Nights at Freddy's is amazing and will always hold a very special place in my heart. But, don't be fooled. Like most games, Fredbear's Resort is not without its negatives. It lacks a significant story, with a lot of things left unexplained. Like Phone Guy's stand-in telling you he can't talk to you on night 5 because he has a lot of business to attend to. Now this could be the legitimate reason he cannot speak with you the following day, but it just seems like something the developers were attempting to set up, some kind of storyline, and they just changed their mind last minute, when voice lines had already been recorded. The other issue I have with the game is it's never confirmed or denied in any way if the animatronics are actually possessed. It is said multiple times they use AI to defend the resort from intruders, but that excuse is used a lot in the mainline FNAF games, and it's usually code for, these things are fucking haunted and we don't know how to explain it. I believe it may be left ambiguous, so the player can decide their own headcanons, but I would have preferred some clues or hints letting you know if they're possessed or not. Another small nitpick I have is the voice actor for the Phone Guy is using a microphone that's quality it's iffy at times. And yes, I understand it's supposed to sound low quality because these games take place in the 80s and 90s era, but sometimes, not all the time, it's just straight up almost impossible to make out some of the things he's saying during the night. This can be a pretty big issue, especially considering he's usually giving instructions on how to fend off the animatronics and try to survive. You do eventually figure out how to play the game by yourself, even if you did miss something. So, it's not a super big deal, but now, enough about the negatives. I didn't make this video to rag on the game. Quite the contrary, really. This game makes up for all of its issues and problems with gameplay and environment. It feels like traveling back in time to 2015 to 16, the golden age of FNAF, when everything was a lot simpler and more mysterious. It has the Scott Cawthon charm, as some call it, and it's just a blast to play. There are only 3 animatronics, so its difficulty isn't insane, like the Return to Bloody Nights, for example, but I would be lying if I didn't say this game had me stressed out. In a good way, of course, per typical FNAF fashion, but it gives you the constant feeling of being on edge, and the reaction time window can be incredibly short sometimes. Plus, when the robots do attack, they usually attack around the same time or in waves. This can give you like 3 things to do at once, and one wrong move could cost you the night. This not only increases the difficulty, but it makes the feel of the game that much more panic-inducing. The other aspect I love about this game is the character design. It's incredible. It captures the feeling of Fredbear and Spring Bonnie perfectly without relying on those new gimmicks like gloves or vests. Don't get me wrong, I love the glove and vest designs. They just don't hold the same FNAF feel, if that makes sense. They're better suited for more fan games and fan characters than official characters getting a redesign. But that's just my personal opinion. They have such a creepy and dead-eyed look to them, especially Spring Bonnie. Oh my god, when he is staring at you from down the hall, it is terrifying. And honestly, a little disturbing. It only gets worse when he goes up 2 inches from your face and his eyes disappear from his head, leaving only the empty sockets. Now, some of you may say, well, this game looks too simple, I don't want to play it, there's not enough going on here. But honestly, that's exactly what FNAF needs right now. With how complex the games have gotten, story-wise, it's a breath of fresh air to play a game where the only thing that you know for sure is these things are coming for you and you have nowhere to run or hide. Now don't get me wrong, I love how mysterious FNAF is. It almost feels like you're a detective trying to solve a mystery. But this game feels like OG FNAF when it first released and nobody knew anything about it yet. It gets harder as you progress, which is to be expected, but it introduces a new animatronic every night for the first 3 nights and leaves you to deal with them for the next 2 nights with minimal practice. And, all of their AI on max. This game is short, lasting over 35 minutes, but that's just another reason to play it. Most of the original Five Nights at Freddy's games were also on the shorter side, and that's one of the reasons people love the games. They're easy to pick up and play anytime, and the replay value is definitely there. The same goes for Fredbear's Resort, and while there isn't any Easter eggs or lore to be discovered here, the custom night can be very fun, and it's a great addition to the game. The main menu is a minor part of any video game, but even so, you can usually determine a game's quality by the main menu/title screen, and Fredbear's Resort does not disappoint on this. It's fluid and is actually slightly interactive, letting you move a security camera feed from side to side. It has a lot of settings as well, which you can use to tweak your game, which is always appreciated and a very welcome surprise, considering it's one of those things that I actually rarely see in FNAF fan games, or any fan games at all for that matter, but it can be really important to some players. Either way, it's a quick, fun, and creepy experience that I had a great time with on my playthrough, and I highly recommend you go give it a try today. So, all in all, Fredbear's Resort is a solid game that I'd recommend to any FNAF fan who's looking for something fresh while maintaining the spooky feel of Five Nights at Freddy's. Now, would I want this game as the official long-awaited Fredbear game in the main series? Hell no! Every new installment of Five Nights at Freddy's gives us a new piece of the lore and or confirms something that fans had been theorizing about. Like I mentioned earlier, this game lacks a story, and without a story, it would not be a suitable entry into the series. But Fredbear's Resort has a great dev team, great character designs, and the perfect classic FNAF environment. I'd rate it a solid 7.5 out of 10. Well, thank you guys so much for sticking around till the end of the video and listening to me ramble. I'd also like to thank each and every single one of you for your support. 500 subscribers is absolutely insane, and I want to say I legitimately could not do any of this without you. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your morning/day/night, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye.